Okay, everybody, welcome back to the channel. We're doing a special Saturday afternoon version of this. And as you can see, I'm not even in the usual Castilla de Blanquete, as it says in the former entry that we had. We had a video before this to open the shows, whatever. But I decided to ditch that because I also decided that we were trying too hard to be something that we're not. And here at Gen X Transplant Brothers, we are just presenting ourselves as two guys that have been through some stuff and just sort of talking about life as it is right now. And so I decided I was going to call my brother Troy today and just see, hey, do you want to hop on the phone real fast? I'm doing this on my phone, as you can see. I'm not in the usual place, as I just said. And I thought about an important topic based on the way that he and I have been looking at what we've already talked about. And there are future part two and part three of the conversation we had about our metal years, and we'll continue to develop that. But a side thing that I wanted to start really developing here with us, and I haven't even said hello to my brother Troy. He's right here, but that's
Hello.
just the way we roll. Hey, Troy. The thing is, we're not trying to be anything, all right? We're not trying to be influencers or anything like that. We're just trying to be us and trying to talk about life as it really is to live right now with us, and that's really the end game here of even what we've talked about, sort of setting up our past and everything is, sort of say, yeah, that's our story, whatever. Everybody's got a story. Everybody's got a story. And yeah, ours might feature some, radical things, but I'm sure that yours do too. You that are watching this right now, whatever had happened in your life that maybe impacted you at the same level that it impacted us, it doesn't matter what it was. It was the same. It changed things. And that's one thing that Gen X, if we get past all the glorification and mythology of drinking of garden hoses and concrete playgrounds, which was real, as Troy even said, as he said, that's called growing up. There was nothing special about it. It was just the way it was. And so, aside from that, I saw a meme the other day, and I called it one of these Gen X complainer memes. And it said something like, Gen X is pissed off because we had to go from LPs to 8 tracks to cassettes to CDs. Remember the early CDs in your car? That was a nightmare. Anyway,
It
CDs
skipped.
to exactly shit. It skipped just closing the door. But any kind of bump in the road, forget a pebble. But then it was MP3s and whether or not you could do it, and then it became, now we have to pay a subscription for the same Neil Young album that we've liked our entire life that we still can't find because we don't know the name of the title of the album, and so it's like, ugh. I mean, I had a moment today, Troy, where I was like, you know what? I wish I could just turn off everything Bluetooth in my house, order like 100 CDs off Amazon, and say the new rule is if this is it, and get a boombox and just listen to it, because it's getting to the point where it's overwhelming and it's disconnecting us from our past, and that's what I'm getting at. The thing that we're missing right now in all this algorithmic mindset is, you got to do this, you got to have shorts, you got to have this, you got to have that, quick hitters. I'm sick of shallow, quick hitting content. I'm sick of somebody telling me how I should look at the news. I don't want to see another little guy in a box and the other box showing me some other person's YouTube stream and then him commenting on that guy commenting on somebody else's comments about what's going on in the world. I don't care what anybody else has to say about it. I don't. But I'd be glad to hear. I mean, I can listen and all whatever, but I'm not going to sit there and have people just spoon feed me either through a stream where they're using other people's content to tell their story, or through some algorithm that is serving me up that dopamine hit of bad news, bad news, bad news, good news ad. It just keeps going over and over in those shorts. And besides, after all that we've been through, what are we supposed to do next? Right? That's the question for Gen X. After all that we've been through, what do we do now? It's like we're on a chessboard where we do get to make the choice of what to do next. We are not a victim of anybody, but the squares around us are constantly changing. It's like, okay, we can adapt. We're the most probably resilient generation of any generation out there in U.S. history. But the fact of the matter is, here at the end of the day, as we are starting to get into our 60s, I turned 59 next week. My brother Troy here turned 59 last February. He's going to be 60. I'm going to be 60 next year. There's already some Gen Xers that are 60. We're all going to be there someday. Some of you younger ones that are watching, and anybody that's watching, you can't deny the fact that it's hard these days to figure out what's next. Is it an asteroid? Is it a war in Venezuela? Is it going to be another Palestinian thing? Do we have enough money at home? What about my favorite political cause? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, lions and tigers and bears, oh my. I'm over it. I don't want to live in Oz anymore. I want to hear people just talk conversations, speak conversations, even speak incorrectly and not edit it out like I won't, you know?
Yeah.
And so I called Troy and I said, Troy, I want to invite in people to our conversation, other men particularly, just because we are men, right? I have divorces. Troy has divorces. I haven't been fired, but I've been working remotely forever. Troy's been fired. Troy's worked the job. Troy is retired. I'm still working remotely, trying to figure it out. We're both in this flux of now what? And, it's like, really, if that was the plan of the boomers didn't work for us. And we're not a victim. We're not complaining. The thing is, these days, opinion is too often labeled complaining. I'm calling shit out. I'm calling bullshit on a lot of stuff that they were sold because whatever, it might have been their thing, but we don't have it. Okay. And so I think the one thing that we do have, that we did have, that we need to get back is human connection. And I think that I would like to invite people into this conversation. Those of you that are listening to this right now that maybe have had some of these similar things or just lived life. I think it's great just to have casual conversations. Troy, I just blathered forever, and I know I sound like I'm standing on a pedestal because I'm fired up about this issue, but having worked remotely for almost 30 years now and famously putting on one of my first websites, which was true at the time, newspapers read us, we don't read them. And my original goal was to bring the voice to the common man. And and all that we did in the .com era of the 90s and the way that we changed sports media and defined it. And then, the product that I sold to Yahoo that's still out there today is the number one. Well, it's not Yahoo anymore. It's been sold now. I don't even know. I think it's on the On3 network or something like that. But through all, and even that, the little project that I started of UGAsports.com in December of 1997 on Christmas Day grew into arguably being the defining college sports site of all time, still one of the largest. The message boards cannot even be argued with. The dog vent is legendary. It can't, anybody even beginning to criticize that does not know what they're talking about. They have to go back to 96 for this, okay? Predate 96 and start your argument. Be that as it may, I'm not pumping my chest that we did these things, but in hindsight, the way that it developed is that we lost that connection. And I think that over my years at UGA Sports, I ran it for 17 years. In 2014, I sold it. I think I was mistaking likes and clicks and subscribers for connection. And in the end, I started to see that. I started to feel that. And that's why I left. I was like, I feel like I'm just a name now. I'm just Steve Patterson. I'm just UGA Sports. I'm just a dog vent. And plus a lot of other stuff was going on in my life. But I was feeling it then, and I think it's chronic in society now. Do you, Troy, hearing my big speech, I mean, how do you feel about that? Do you after just hearing what react, I mean, how do you feel about this whole thing? I mean, it's hard.
I think it is weird, like you're saying, how people feel like their only acceptance is by the like on Facebook. And I think the disconnect with, well, women really is that they are content creators doing silly things for the thumbs up. And I think that's harmful to the brain to think that that's your connection to reality is how many likes you can get by the silliest things that you can do. And I really feel like this has to stop. Somehow, someday, this has to come to an end, and there has to be some more interaction with people. For
I think
example, my son goes to college. When I was in college, you would see a lot of couples. People his age, he's 20 or will be, they don't seem to connect like our generation did at all. It's strange to watch.
right. And see, here's the thing for anybody out there that's about to say those old couple old typical white guys sit around, fine. F off. I don't care. This is how it is. I remember even when I was working at UGA Sports all those years ago now, right? It's been what, 2014. It's been, well, by the time I was actually still coherently doing it before I was sick, it's been almost 15 years. And I remember there was one day still driving home from practice across campus, going down Millage Avenue and passing, for those of you in Athens, Georgia, you'll know exactly where I'm talking about. Going by where they built the new thing right there, where you come out of the back of the stadium onto Millage, they built a new whole complex there. And that wasn't there when I started, then it was. And suddenly students were all over the place. So on my way home, I had to go through this.
Mm.
And I remember there was one day I drove past the bus stop, and I sat there at the stoplight and looked and counted. Every single one of them had headsets in, right? They didn't have
Yeah.
phones yet. They didn't have phones they were staring at yet, but they were all listening to their own little bubble. And today, I've done this so many times, and I feel like a hypocrite for doing it because half the time I'm doing it too. But if you look around the room at like a restaurant or something like that, maybe not a nice, my point being, most people today are staring at their screens wherever you're at. If you're at any point where people have to stop moving, they default to looking at their screen. They're checking to see, oh, I don't even know what they're looking at. I don't even know what I'm looking at. In fact, the text that I send you, Troy, when we do shares, we're not sharing compelling information. We're selling some stupid ass thing, just and and
Look at
and we
this.
can, right, but it means nothing. When is the last time that you remember a short that you saw? What's the last short you
That,
saw?
gosh, I don't know. That's been a while.
I, okay, a while since you've seen a short. I see shorts all the time, but I don't. The only
Well,
ones I can remember are ones that the person that I know, and even then,
oh
I don't know
yeah.
if it's the last one that I saw. It might be one that I saw in the past.
Well,
But in other words, go ahead.
yeah. The I yeah, I have seen a lot of them on YouTube actually recently,
Hmm.
where it feels like they're trying to get. Well, I don't know. Sometimes it's just not enough information.
That's exactly it. It's not enough information. It's just enough to keep you engaged and keep you outraged or to keep you in
Yeah.
agreement. It's either going to
Yes.
support what you're saying 100% or it's going to deny. If you're a Republican, it's going to show you the most silly ass liberal you could possibly see. And if you're a liberal, it's going to show you a conservative in a Ku Klux Klan outfit at whatever. I mean, it's like it serves you exactly what you want to see. And then you say, that's the way the world is. And I'm not saying you, the person that's listening to us right now, because anybody that's listening to us or watching us right now, you really got here because you somewhat agree or somehow or disinterested. But my point is not that any of those beliefs are inherently right or wrong, but they're very tribal, and the algorithm supports it. So if we want to say why is America so tribal these days, it's not social media per se. It's not really any of those things per se. It's big business trying to make a lot of money and doing whatever they can to extract out of you the best way to get you to spend your money. And so if they're going to send you, you know, four shorts in a row that you hate, and then one that you agree with, and then right after that, there's going to be an ad because now you feel connected. That's your little false
Yeah.
dopamine hit that you got there. You know, I mean, it's just like, you know, the human mind.
Yes,
And I saw a guy speak.
most of it is ads, the
Oh,
algorithm, and it gets frustrating to
it's the
almost to
algorithm.
do anything. It's so frustrating. A couple of days ago, I just set my phone down and I thought, I'm just not going to take my phone anywhere today. Bye.
You know what's
And
what's funny?
and
Go ahead. Go ahead.
a friend of mine said, well, what if you get hurt? You won't have anybody to get a hold of. Maybe I should take my phone.
Well, I
But
mean, yeah.
I was so frustrated with, like you said, the ads are just that it's all. I feel assaulted by it now, like beat up by it.
It's exactly what has happened. It has beat your mind without you even knowing it. You know, I saw a guy the other day on Sean Ryan
Yeah.
talk about this, and he said that you don't have a firewall for your brain. That's exactly right. We don't have an ad blocker for our brain. Whatever gets
Mm.
fed in there gets fed in there. And the way that I talk about it in the books that I've written, the healing pathways and other stuff, is one of the ways that I sort of look at it is if you talk about the way that humans think, you have the reflective brain, you have the survival brain. The survival brain has three purposes, what every mammal on earth has: make more of me, eat, and have a safe place to live so that when I'm sleeping, something doesn't eat me. Right? Those are the three things that the survival brain has, which every mammal on the earth has. What we have, in addition to that, is the reflective brain, which is this part up here, the prefrontal cortex and all the rest of it. And it is where we think about things. And so now we are judging all this. And so all this gets mixed up. And I talk about it a lot in my books as the battle of two minds. Not one, it's one brain, two minds, right? Two ways of thinking going on at the same time. And there's a lot of work in this. You can talk about neural pathways and all that. And I do a lot elsewhere. But the way that they're doing this, they're exactly exploiting those processes. They are forming our habits for us without us even knowing it. It's behind the scenes. And I'm not trying to get all conspiratorial here. Google, take what I'm saying and put it in the chat GDP and see what it says. It's going to say basically, yeah, it's exactly what is going on. Not basically, that is exactly what's going on. We're being algorithmically trained for certain behaviors without us even knowing it because we cannot prevent ourselves from seeing these things because we're exposed to them. So when we're scrolling all day long, we don't even realize we're guinea pigs in this lab. We're just seeing usually 3, 4 negative, 1 positive, boom, ad. And that is exactly the connection. Pain, 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 redemption. Oh, I feel connected now. And I buy the product. That's why you have things like Temu and all these other cheap ass products out there that are just enough to keep you interested because you just watch a survival video and here's a backpack that has a built-in ham radio or some shit and it costs $29. $29. Hell yeah, I'll get that because I need it. You know, because I just saw how bad it is, how bad it is, how bad it is. And then I saw a puppy and then I saw this. And yeah, like, oh man, that's right. If I really want to be grounded in the world, I need to do this. I need to buy that. You never know. I've never operated a ham radio before. I have no idea that I need a license to do it. I have no idea that this thing's coming from China and it's going to suck, but I'm going to buy it for $29.99 and boom, it happens. And so that's how all that shit happens. It's just like any of those ads out there. Invest in crypto today because the stock prices are going up. Blah, 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 blah. None of that.
Uh,
None of that is accurate information. It is all a sales pitch. And in fact, the entire process is on all of these platforms. Yes, you, YouTube. Yes, you, TikTok, Rumble, TikTok, you're the worst at it because you're doing it on purpose. You're doing it specifically to make the United States people feel like shit while you in your own country. You ever see TikTok in your country? What are you teaching your own people to do? You're teaching them how to do math, teaching them how to do exercising, these some positive
How to
things.
fight.
That's what that maybe not how to fight like that. But my point is the reality of it is right now, even TikTok in China is completely different than it is here. And I'm not saying this anti-China. Good move, China. but wake up everybody else at the same time. And that has gotten us to this point where we don't have that connection. And that's why I think it's important that we just shoot videos like we're doing today. My desk in my office collapsed today because I tried to move it. It's made out of cheap particle board. It fell down. I have a big gash in my leg right now. It crashed onto my foot last night that woke me up with neuropathy at the same exact spot. So I'm guaranteed tonight that's going to be an issue. That desk is in complete disaster right now. The computer, the microphone, everything collapsed. And so the office is just, it's going to take a few days to glue everything back together and get it going. But that's the reality of Gen X Transplant Brothers view today. That's why you see me sitting in my living room right now with this painting on my wall, which I'll show you. It's Jim Morrison, a friend of ours, painted it for us. And I showed it to Troy beforehand. It's actually, if you were to look at these lines right here, if you were to touch them, they stand out about a quarter inch because they're actually drips of paint. I mean, and we know the guy that painted it for us, and he painted it, and he's got a studio now in Charleston, South Carolina. Mauricio Sanchez is his name. But he painted it here in, well, not here, but in Pereira, Colombia, for my wife years ago, and she bought it, and well, specifically commissioned him to make it. So that's that. That's how real it is. Okay, I would rather spend 25 or 50 seconds, whatever I just did, showing you that, than to try to put up a screen right now showing you Venezuela and how many people are off the coast, or some protest in somewhere, or some reaction video to some gun tuber that's out there and they're in some controversy and I'm going to make more controversy on controversy on controversy. Fuck your controversy. I'm tired of it. Troy,
Yeah.
you got to take some of this out of me.
I'm with you. I get so tired of everything. It's just, well, it is system overload for me. I'm just, there's too much going on to where I feel I can't take it anymore. Sometimes, I'm done. I'm finished with it. And like, if you have an opinion that is not wanted, it's judgment. Oh, you don't have to judge. And and I, that's one thing that bothers me is you have to make judgment. So I decided I'm not judging this. It's not judgment, it's diagnosis. I'm figuring out what this is, and I don't like it.
It's not good. Septic.
Right.
Right. Exactly. And we're not doom and gloom here, people. Remember, the message here, I think I said it a minute ago, it sounds good. After all we've been through, now what? So it's not like we're giving up. It's just like how do we move forward from this point? And Troy, I remember you mentioning to me, and I hope this doesn't cut too personal. I didn't talk about this ahead of time, but I've been seeing some stories about this. And for everybody out there that's still listening, I'm in Colombia, and that's a whole different topic. Troy is in the United States, and so I don't experience a lot of the same day to day in that way. But obviously, I'm from the U.S. and I've only been here a few years, so it's not like it's a stranger. But anyway, what I want to ask about, and plus I don't own a home in the United States. Troy, you were mentioning recently some issue that happened with the mortgage of your home where it changed or something like that. But I've seen a lot of people talking about how mortgages are being bought and sold so fast and all this other stuff. And plus there's just general chaos around the housing market. How's that going since Transplant, you purchased this house, correctly? Correct?
Yeah, I bought this house, and the the powers that be are making it unaffordable, and it's through taxes and insurance, to where they will in 5 years, if they keep doing this, it won't be my house, and it's frustrating, very frustrating, to have to put up with this. And I think a lot of other people are going through this, and I don't mean to be depressing, but I really don't see an end. Something has to change for our generation. I mean, what
What
what is next? What's next? Now what? Now
exactly?
what?
It's right. Three Eye Atlas is still coming back in December, so for all we know, it's all going to end. It's like, are you serious? It's like, oh, and then
Yeah.
we're flying nukes around. And again, we're not going to get political, but it's like, how
Yeah.
many wars are we going to fight, and then how many whatever else? And those are just the issues that I am. I keep talking about these war things just because of two things. One, I'm former military, and I've been kept up on that stuff my whole life, and then also the fact that I live right next door to a country, the United States, is sitting off the coast of and about ready to go blow up. So it's kind of local for me.
Well, that
And so
that
I
guy
don't,
on this.
and I don't, I saw the whole thing with Snap, and I get it. I mean, I fully get it. I absolutely understand. It's not like, again, I'm a stranger to the U.S., but I don't see it on the street around me. But for you, Troy, as far as this whole thing with the mortgage, I mean, if you're open to it, walk us through like what changed. I know you've only had it for what, maybe 2 years, and so in that time, it's
One
already gotten
year,
crazy. So what's happened in
one
one
year,
year?
they've 1 year, and they've made it unaffordable. I mean, literally, I can't pay
But what
them
changed? But
the
was there an
insurance.
original? So the insurance went up.
Yeah, the insurance went up a great deal, and our beautiful governor raised the taxes on top of that. So when he does it, all the other people involved in government think, well, if he's doing it, we should do it. So city and county, it all goes up to a point where it's not worth being in the damn house. I just look at it and it's not even a home to me anymore. I just look at it thinking, well, it was nice while it lasted. 'Cause I don't know what to say. I do know that that '70s show. I don't know if you ever watched that.
I did. I did.
Do you remember when Red, he would just look up into the sky and he'd point at his forehead and he'd say, "Come on, meteor, right here." So sometimes
You don't
I'll
know.
catch
That
myself
is
looking
so
up at the
funny.
sky and doing that.
That's so funny because I'm in a really precarious spot right now in my whole thing, and I'm not retired, and I'm very much month to month, and I've got to figure a lot of stuff out fast, and actually I've actually thought of things like that, um, what a convenient time
All
for a
right.
massive heart attack. It sounds
Right.
terrible,
Come
but I
on,
mean, I've
man.
been down death's road before, so anybody out there saying you don't know what you're talking about, I do. But
Well,
there was a
what
part of me
about
after
the what
transplant
is
that
that thing that's coming through the
three
sky,
eye
the
atlas,
Atlas Age, 3i
right? Three
Atlas.
eye atlas, right?
I'm
It's supposed
like,
to come back.
and I think that
It's coming to get us. Oh
that
my.
that also gives me hope. Maybe there's some
Exactly.
space
I was like,
aliens
maybe
coming
it
down
does
here to correct all
explode.
this.
When it's funny because I was
Does
watching something about that. Somebody said maybe it's like falling apart in space. It exploded. There was some, I don't know if that actually panned out, but anyway, that was one of the various updates I saw, and I was like, oh, that's cool. So now we have a whole solar system full of thousands of little meteorites flying around now, so we can start. So that's pretty good. We're gonna get smacked. Well, that's
I'm
terrible
looking
if you
forward to
think
it.
that way. No, we're not looking forward to it really though, Troy. The thing is, I remember saying though, I've said a few times, if I had known in 2010 when I say I don't buy your myth of death and then went through the 8 years of doing that only to come out in 2019 and then have COVID hit, I think I might have just taken that offer in 2010. I was like, so I actually have thought a few times. I was like, why did I even do this? I came back for this. I did that for
Yeah.
this. And what is this? Especially, I mean, because
What?
for me, and yes, this is personal, but being a remote worker my whole life and never actually, being in an office environment or having other people around me and things like that, it's like, well, I came back to the same empty space that I left, and now it's even more empty because if I say anything, I'm doxxed or I'm canceled or whatever. And I was like, when I went in, it was the 2000 pre-10s. and society was getting kind of iffy. Everything after 9/11, we got very iffy. But when I came out, it was time for the Trump election and the chaos that happened there. And I was like, man, it was so much easier when I was dying.
Yeah, it was different.
It was.
It does. It feels to me, it feels like something happened while I was gone. I came back to
Yeah,
this.
I
What
know.
is
What happened?
this?
Where did everybody
Did
go?
I miss something here?
Yeah. While I was away at lunch for a few minutes, where did everybody
Yeah.
go? It's like, holy crap. And I came out of Transplant in 2020. I launched my new business in 2020, and then January, and then COVID hit. And I was like, are you serious? You're going to tell me I'm going to die from some stupid ass? I don't give it. I mean, for 9 years, I've been saying I'm not going to die to cancer, terminal liver, all these real bad guys and this mythological thing. And I'm not saying that as some anti-science guy, but I didn't get vaxxed. I hardly, that's why I left the United States. I was like, are you serious? I was like, you quit that easy? You just give up? You run away? Where did my people go? And they never came back. They came back with torches in their hands, yelling, kill the other guy that doesn't agree with me.
Yeah. I lost friends over that whole deal. That
I don't. I may have lost them. I don't know. I think I just lost touch. I don't. I never broke off anything, but I never really break off
uh,
anything. And because for me personally, I move so often that it's hard to really maintain any kind of connection with anybody very long anyway. But but still, even in that absence that I've had of personal connection, working online for 27, 8 years now, whatever it's been. Um, uh, I always could tell there was another person at the other side. And now I feel like I'm either listening to somebody telling me what I'm supposed to think, or showing me what I should be watching, or talking about things that I should be talking about, or thinking about the way that I act like I should be thinking about it, or telling me that my shadow self is. I'm just so fucking over it. I'm over everybody else's opinion of me, which I've always been, but I'm over everybody else's opinions of each other.
yeah, it's time to really tune out of
It
all of it
is.
for a while.
Think about it. Today, when I went out to La Tabida, right? I live in El Caimo, Colombia. For those, I never say this out loud, so there you have it. I went to La Tabida today to a little bitty tienda. It's a little store, and I live in the country. I don't live in a city. I live in the countryside, so I have rural Colombians all around me, and nobody speaks English at all. And so, and I don't speak Spanish very well. And so I went in there today, of course, wearing my, usual stuff. I have my army hat and everything. Not that I'm proud or anything, but I do. I am who I am, and and even being there, I was like, this is so nice. I mean, the one thing I like about Colombia is that it does not matter what you've done in your life ever. It all starts right now from the time that we meet, right now, based on what you do. And I don't, and what you don't see here anywhere. And I'm not trying to grandstand saying, oh, Colombia is great, because I could criticize Colombia to the end of freaking time. But anyway, um, what you don't have here are bumper stickers. You will never see a bumper. You will not. I have not in 5 years seen a single political. I don't even recall seeing a bumper sticker at all. I've never seen a political T-shirt. I've never seen a sign in somebody's yard saying what they vote for. And it's not because they're afraid that the neighbor's going to come kill them, although that is a possibility. But that's a possibility in the United States right now. Ask Charlie Kirk, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
exactly right there, punch right back. All right, thinking this is the third world and all, but the fact of the matter is the reason it doesn't, because nobody cares. And why do you have to wear your freaking emotions on your sleeve all day? Why you got a grandstand like that? and I'm the guy that wore the army hat, right? Okay, I wore an army hat. Why am I wearing an army hat? Well, it's because it's one of the few hats I had, and I feel like I'm going bald. See that? And so I get kind of self-conscious about that because why? Because I feel that other people might judge me. But that goes all the way back to when we were kids. I mean, we all want to comb our hair, take a shower, be clean. That's basic stuff. You know, it's not like I'm putting on all kinds of stuff saying, "Look at me, I'm a combat veteran." I'm just a lowly I am just a lonely Gen X veteran who served during the Cold War. I never got called up to go to combat. I never got called up to do any of that. I was just a regular old infantryman in case anybody needed anything because we did have a Cold War going on. All right, so we don't have all those badges and all those stories. We can't be gun tubers. We can't talk about our time that we were in Afghanistan or our time that we would have been at Fort Riley, Kansas. you know, but the fact of the matter is that I mean, even I still, it's still there's still a part of me that defines, and so I wear the hat for that reason, not for anybody else. And I know I keep
That
babbling on
Cold
about
War,
Detroit.
the Cold War was crazy. How um, it was such a threat, and people were terrified that somebody was going to push the button, but didn't. And then, but we all still had our goofy music, and us, we interacted with each other still, unlike today, where I don't know. The Cold War, I remember being scary, and I was kind of shocked that you joined the army too during a Cold War. I was like, "What? What's he doing?" But yeah, it's different now, and we're actually at war. We've been at war since 1991. It's insane.
It's just forever war. Troy, I
Yeah.
don't know if I just left out for other people watching this, but I just had to reconnect three.
Yep, there you went. Here I am. But yeah, the Cold War, now the war is everywhere. You're back now.
Okay, fine. I was about to say we're gonna have to wrap this up because I just had to four times reconnect. It must be something with the internet gods. But our point in this whole thing is that we want to invite other people into this conversation. If
Yeah.
I'm going to
Don't-
make this fast because I keep getting disconnected. Hey, everybody,
he
thank you
left
for being
me.
here. Please come back. Please come back. If I vanish again, Troy, you got to close this out. I'm not coming back again. But you just
Hey,
finish it out and I'll hit stop.
let's finish it right now. Bye.
And that's it. That's it, everybody. Bye bye. Thank you for joining us. Bye bye. Ciao.
See you.